Hey, oh, hi, and welcome. Yes, it's been a while, hasn't it? I'm a little bit older and fatter than I was the last time you saw me, so you may not recognise me, so just in case, it's Andrew from RC. And I'm here. We are gathered today on this sad day. A sad day. Why is it a sad day? It's a sad day because yesterday Terry parcelled up his D90, his orange D90, because he sold it. And today he's just had his PG4, his Cross PG4, collected by its new owner as well. So 2 days he's lost 2 good rigs. So the fleet is thinning down a little. His fleet is thinning down a little. Mine isn't. I'm a hoarder, unfortunately, so... But still, it feels like a sad day. I'll get over my inner demons with more coffee, probably. So, it's a bench video, a bench update. And if you've never seen one of these before and you're still watching, well done. It's about what am I doing? What on earth am I doing? A question asked many times by many people, me not least of all. 2 things really have been occupying my time since I last did an update. One of them is this pesky little wretch, the Arizona Easy RC Arizona 18th scale Jeep. The other is the Range Rover, which is in the kitchen behind you and in various pieces being sprayed brown. So we'll have a look at those pieces shortly. But first, this little bugger. Now, this has been something of a project. You may remember this is an RTR. It comes bright yellow and is a bit shit. So what I've tried to do is make it a little bit less shit by... I probably shouldn't swear, should I? But you know what? It's hot. It's a Sunday morning. It's hot already in the UK. We don't do hot very well. We don't do very well, I don't think. And certainly even the weather we managed to botch up. So it's getting unbearably hot very quickly. So I'm going to, you know, what have I been doing? Wheels, look, they're still coming. And tyres a go-go. These FMS Easy RC trucks, their axles are too narrow. And that makes it very difficult to get the wheels pushed out of the truck enough for my personal tastes. I think they're all a bit too narrow and skinny on their gauge, I guess it would be if it was a train. And I originally had these Inora beadlocks and copy boggers, I think they are, Interco bogger tyres. These are what it went to Wales with on the last run video, where it spent most of its time on its roof. Partly because of my cack-handed driving. I can't deny my own driving skills are pretty poor, especially when I'm filming at the same time. But partly because these tyres are quite hard. They're not very grippy, despite their tread pattern. They're not very grippy, and the wheelbase, the gauge is just too narrow. So the whole truck it just rotated over really quick, really easy. Now, yes, it's got an interior, yes, it's a hard body, yes, it's a little bit top heavy, the centre of gravity is probably a bit too high, but this is what I want. So I'm looking at remedies. I'm not looking at stripping interiors out and things. That's no point in the truck then. So I've had to resort, and I can't lie, this is Steve at RC Crawlers. He's a very ingenious fellow. He won't blow his own trumpet very hard, but he, allegedly, but he's quite an ingenious fellow on the quiet, and he suggested reversing some RC4 Drive Steelies that I originally had from the Panda Hobby Bronco. This is an RC4 Drive Steely 1-inch beadlock as it comes. So it's the traditional fashion. You've got the bolts on the outside, and it's kind of like, it's got a bit of a dish on it, but it's not that heavy a dish. And on the back, obviously, you've got a fairly well kind of hollowed out with the hub on there that goes straight onto the axle. Now when you reverse this, you end up with a deep dished effect, as I've got here. So in fact you trade places. Instead of having this hub kind of in this kind of position on the rim, it ends up on that kind of position on the rim, pointing out. So it's like putting the wheel on backwards. So as soon as you put the wheel on backwards, you end up with it pushes the tyre quite a long way out, and you end up with this. So I've got plenty of clearance on the steering, plenty of clearance in there, and a nice deep effect at the outside that you can see, and I have a much wider track. So now the truck is not overly tippy. you know, I can get some pretty decent angles before it finally goes. So doing it this way is much safer, isn't it? You know, and that's much better than it was. Right, so the Range Rover, now it's in various pieces, as I say. This being the biggest piece, this is the body shell. Now the colour I've used is, these are all Halford's automotive paints. I can't remember what it is. I think it's Ford Roman bronze or something. Let me go find it. Right, as if by magic I'm back and here's the paint. So it is Ford Roman bronze. I wasn't kidding. And I know it's Ford Roman bronze because I had to go and buy some more yesterday. Now, here's the rear as well, just to show you. That's the rear section off the truck without the bumper. So the bumper screws onto the bottom there, which you can't do when it's back on the shell. You have to have access. You have to take the whole back door off and get in and bolt the bumper on, and so on. A whole bunch of kerfuffle. So I thought I'll just leave this off. The hatch is open because that's where the battery's going to live, in the back of the truck. So the hatch is flapping about still because that's going to be my point of entry for battery changes. The whole rear section, the whole window section of the truck has been sprayed black, hence the masking. It is going to have to be resprayed black because some of the paint's got in underneath some of my tape work here, annoyingly, because sometimes, I mean, the aerosol does blast a little bit of paint out, and it removes all the sticky stuff from the tape, so the tape starts billowing open, and it's not very strong as it stands either. So there's a bit of give, and anyway, a few gaps opened up, and a bit of bronze paint went on the black, as I've seen. So some more remedial catching up to do. There's also, in general, I have to say I'm very proud of this paintwork. I've never done a proper shiny truck before. I'm always doing dirty, manky military ones, or you know, like this one where it's all matted down just for scale, if nothing else. But I figured, you know, the Range Rover was meant to be my big, shiny, posh truck. And I'm so pleased that it's actually turned out to be that after painting, or so far anyway. And I can only think it's the paintwork, it's the paints themselves far more than it is anything I've done or skill that I may have. I have got an issue on the shell that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but the rear here, another reason for bringing this in, can you see the shine on that? You know, that is just straight out the can. That's 2 or 3 coats. I backed it all with silver first, therein lies the tail, but it was all silver first, and then it's had 2 or 3 coats of this Ford Roman bronze, and I hope you can see just how shiny that is. It's going to get lacquered over the top, so you can imagine it's going to be a pretty deep shiny finish, just ready to go and scrape alongside whales in the near future, I would imagine. Now with the shell, the one issue I had with the shell is I had a run on this side. Let me back up a little bit, right? The issue I had with the shell particularly, but with the other components to a smaller extent, was when I did the black, I didn't mask off the bare plastic that was going to be brown. So I just sprayed the black on, and I got a ton of oversprays, you might imagine, all over the rig. I'd primed the whole thing, obviously, then I did the black, got overspray everywhere, and then I just went straight into the brown, not thinking for 1 second that the black would show through. Well, of course it did. So I ended up with like a two-tone dappled effect, and instead of putting 2 or 3 cans of paint on to try and cover all of this, I thought, sod that, I'm going to do the whole thing, effectively reprime the whole thing, just, you know, except the black parts, obviously, just reprime everything, get it all back to one colour, and then put the brown on top. And I was talking to Steve about it, and, you know, he said, have you got any white? I said, well, I've got silver. Oh my God, silver, yes. So I did silver, because obviously this is a metallic brown, so it's going to pop. Silver's really going to help. You know, like when you're doing a Lexan job, you might, if you've got metallics and stuff involved, you might back the whole thing with white or silver in the end, just to help, when in sunshine especially, help that colour pop out of the top coats. So that's what I've done with this. So it was leave the black aside. The black's black. Everything else was done silver, and then it had 3 coats of this brown on, but one of those coats I had a little bit of a run on this side. These 2 panels, so the very back panel and the back door, they've got a little bit of a run line in them. Now, it's not a run line that you can feel, and I think what's happened is the metallic pigment in the paint has sunk, because I sprayed it like this. So I sprayed it, you know, sort of vertically. So when you've got to put quite a lot of paint on to get a smooth finish, get a glossy finish. If you wisp it on, you get a very matte finish, like I've still got on a little bit on the bonnet on that last top coat I did. With these propellant cans, you've really got to kind of commit, you know, get a good coat on. But if you go over slightly by like a fraction of a second, you're going to get a bit of a run. And what I think's happened, the metallic pigment has just seeped. So it hasn't run like a dribble, it's just gathered in a little wavy line. And I thought I'd dealt with it, but I've looked at it, looking at it now, looking at it in the daylight this morning, I can see it's still there. I can't feel it, but I can see it. So I think this afternoon I'm going to take a bit more, go back to this with some sandpaper and just rub this back again and just see if I can just remove a little bit of that wave and then get some more paint on the top of it. I haven't got a whole, probably got half a can left, so I've got some to play with. So I'm going to try and get it right as best I can. You can only see it. I can only see it in a kind of flat light. I can't see it here when it's coming off the studio light, but in a flat, like an overcast day, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see it. As soon as you get a reflection on there, you can't. But just on a kind of flat, featureless view of it, I can see it, and it's going to bug me if I don't deal with it, or try to deal with it, you know. But otherwise, yeah, it's looking glorious. It looks absolutely, the colour is amazing. I'm really thrilled about it, and it's actually stayed quite clean as well, which is, I think, so much of painting, and I used to do, you know, a lot of airbrush work with my old scale modelling days. With an airbrush and you're doing intricate work and so on, there's an awful lot of technique involved. But I feel that with a rattle can, and you know, people are going to tell me I'm wrong, I'm sure, but I don't think there's as much to be afraid of with this. A lot of decisions that you can make with an airbrush, you don't get those decisions with this. You just press the button and paint comes out. And that takes away a whole bunch of variables. So really the only thing you can then do is you get to decide how long that nozzle is pointing at your paint, your model for. And if you do it for too long, it runs. Yeah. And if you don't do it for long enough, you don't get as much. You don't get a good colour, a good coverage. So you quickly get to see. You get used to, as long as you pay attention, and get it along the thing and get the paint out and done. You know, that's it. For me to do this, if I do the remedial on this, I'll just do 1-2 passes down the side. That's it. That'll be fine. That's it. It'll sit and dry. You know, I'm not beavering away at it with a can forever. For me, I would say this, you know, a nice finish is about preparation. It's about having a smooth surface for the paint to go on and keeping it clean. Do your level best to keep the hairs and the filth out of it, and be patient. If you've got a hair in it or some flaw in the paintwork, deal with it. Take your time and deal with it. Don't accept it. You know, it's not an army truck. It's not going to be covered in mud and rust and stickers. This is what it's going to be like. And if there's a hair on this tailgate paint job, you're going to see it, and you're going to see it all the time. So yeah, just preparation and patience. I don't think there's a huge amount of skill involved. Not with this. So yeah, I'm super excited, very excited I should say. I'm not super excited because I don't live in Shoreditch, and I don't wear sandals, so I can't say super excited. Wankers. So yes, I am very excited to see this. Look at that. See this together. I have done a little teaser pic on Instagram with the black bumper on and the headlights surrounding there. So if you want to get a little idea as to how it's going to look, check us out on Instagram. Have a look on there. Now, my next thing with this is going to be. Oh look! I found a fly that's got stuck in the paint. Oh, The trouble with this weather, you know, it's out, I do it outside, and as soon as it's wet and finished, you stand back and then a little black fly or a little aphid will come and land on it. It's like, you little bugger. Yeah, yeah, he's glued in there like Jurassic Park. Brilliant. Tell you, this country. Stupid atmosphere. Who needs an atmosphere? Right, now, so the next thing with this, really, once I've sorted the paint out, it's going to be lacquered. So I've got some a tin of clear lacquer there. The decision I've got to make is whether I take the masking off, deal with the black, the bits of black that have been sprayed, a little bit of bronze, and then remask it and lacquer the shell, because the shell is going to be a gloss lacquer and this is going to be more of a satin lacquer. All these black A-frames and things, all the window posts, I'm not having them shiny black, wet looking, like they're meant to be like a satiny matte finish. I'm a bit worried about getting edge build-up around all this tape, because there's been quite a lot of coats of brown on this now. I'm quite worried about when I take tape off, I'm going to have a big lip of dried paint. And I'm also concerned I won't get the front doors open again. If I lacquer them now, I'm frightened that might just be one thing too many and they'll never open again. They'll be glued shut. So, and I can't pop the doors open without taking the tape off. So, while I mess about with the brown wavy bit down here and the aphid bit up the top here, I'm going to be thinking about what I'm going to do next. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm very excited about all that. The interior, I don't know how long we've been going for. Let's have a look. Does it tell me on the camera how long we've been going for? Probably not. Can't see anyway. Long enough, I think. So what I'll do, I'll catch up with the interior. I've actually carpeted the interior, I'll have you know. It's a Range Rover Vogue, darlings. So yes, it's been bloody carpeted. I'll show you the interior next time. There's not time for that now, okay? I think the next installment of this, I should have sorted the paintwork, lacquered it, redone the black, lacquered that. So maybe you can see the Range Rover shell as Rover intended. Was it British Leyland at the time? Or was it Land Rover? Because it was Jaguar for a bit, wasn't it? It's been difficult to follow. Anyway, as Rover intended, you'll be able to see this without the tape. Anyhow, there you go. So on that disappointment, I will leave you, and I will probably see you in a week or two. Don't expect an update from Terry on his bench, because he's emptying it rather than filling it. It's traumatic. Anyway, I'm moving now before he sells me. All right. Cheers now. Bye.